everybody, welcome back. Today I'm going to talk about my most anticipated releases for the months of July through December. I didn't actually have like too many books for all of these months, which is why I usually, divide them between like 3 months at a time. But since I didn't have that many books, there's only 9 books on this list, I decided to go for the second half of the year altogether. So, starting in July, I actually didn't have a book to talk about, so we're moving on to August. The first book is My Imaginary Mary by Cynthia Han, Brody Ashton and Jodie Meadows. This is the second book in the Mary series and it comes out on August 2nd, and this book is supposed to be inspired by the life of Mary Shelley, and that's all I want to know because I love these books so much, and the previous series from the Lady Janies. And then we have Babel by R.F. Kuang. This is a sort of historical adult fantasy, and it takes place in 1828, and we meet Robin Swift, who was orphaned by cholera, and he is brought to London by a very mysterious professor, and there he trains in Latin, ancient Greek and Chinese, and that is all for the preparation for when he will enter the University of Oxford, which is a very prestigious institute, and it's also known as Babel. So basically this is supposed to evolve around a war over silver and opium against China. It's also about what Robin Swift is prepared to sacrifice to bring Babel down. But this comes out on August 23rd. Despair Cuts Through Water by Simon Jimenez, and this comes out on August 30th. This is an adult fantasy, and this is about 2 warriors who shepherd an ancient god across a broken land, and this is to end the tyrannical reign of a royal family. That's all I'm going to say, but books that revolve around gods, I really do like them. And then we have the Sunbearer Trials by Aidan Thomas. This is supposed to come out on September 6th. I think there's basically about teenagers who have sort of related to gods, so they have somewhat powers, if you will. They're called semi-dioses, if I can pronounce that right. And it says, as each new decade begins, the sun's power must be replenished so that Sol can keep traveling along the sky and keep the evil obsidian gods at bay. 10 semi-dioses between the ages of 13 and 18 are selected by Sol himself as the most worthy to compete in the Sunbearer Trials. The winner carries light and life to all the temples of Reino del Sol, but the loser has the greatest honor of all. They will be sacrificed to Sol, their body used to fuel the sunstone that will protect the people of Reino del Sol for the next 10 years. It sounds very dark and morbid, but it sounds so interesting. And trials, I mean, competitions till the death. Hunger Games, here I come. And then we have one book I've been looking forward to for years, and it's finally happening. But this is Bastille versus the Evil Librarians. This is the 6th and final book in Alcatraz versus the Evil Librarians, and this is by Brandon Sanderson, and this time we actually took help from Jancy Patterson as well. This is supposed to be out on September 20th. I don't want to spoil anything, but the first book is freaking kick-ass, and I need to reread them now because I have read. So it just started raining like crazy out of nowhere. Such a stormy weather outside. But yeah, in the first book we meet Alcatraz, and on his 13th birthday there's sort of this mysterious package that arrives at his home. Do you guys hear that? Just ignore the rain. But he gets this mysterious package, and then all of a sudden he's getting attacked from all different kind of people that wants to get their hands on this bag. And it turns out that this bag is actually an inheritance from his father, and he has to stop the evil librarians from taking it from him. And to be able to do that, he has to use the only weapon he has, an incredible talent for breaking things, which sounds awesome in and of itself. I could not want to read that. And then we have Last of the Talons by Sophie Kim, and this is supposed to come out on September 27th. This is a young adult fantasy. We meet Shin Lina, and she is the Reaper of Sunpao. She is 18 years old, and she's forced to become the sort of worst weapon of the biggest crime lord in the city, and the only thing that stops her from actually going after the crime lord himself, because she hates him, is the fact that her sister's life is hanging on by a thread. But when she's ordered to steal this really valuable tapestry from this temple, she doesn't only get the wrath of the legendary immortal, but also the beginning of an unwinnable game. And suddenly she finds herself in this dreamlike realm of the Dukkaibi, and her fate is in the hands of a cruel and captivating emperor, but she can win her life if she kills him first. So there's a lot of really awesome sounding fantasy coming out this year, so I'm really looking forward to this one. We're moving on to November now. So we have Stellar Loon by Shannon Messenger. This is the 9th, and I think it's the final book, or was it supposed to be 10 books? I'm not sure. Anyways, this comes out on November 8th. In the first book, we meet Sophie Foster. She finds out that she is not human, she's in fact an elf. She gets taken to the elven realm, where she is introduced to magic and how she's supposed to use the magic and how to defend herself and stuff like that. And there's people out after her and her newfound friends, and shit goes down. This is an amazing middle grade series, and I'm so looking forward to the next book. And then we have the Astonishing Chronicles of Oscar from Elsewhere. It's the 4th book in the Kingdoms and Empires series. I've read the first 2 books in this series, absolutely loved them. I'm gonna get my hands on the 3rd book as soon as possible. This is supposed to come out on November 1st. This is a middle grade book written by Jacqueline Moriarty. I think we're supposed to get some cameos from Bronte in this book, which sounds awesome. Maybe some of the characters from the 2nd and 3rd book as well. But this one is the Astonishing Chronicles of Oscar, basically what's happened to him through Monday through Friday last week. And that is basically when Oscar finds himself on a quest to locate 9 separate pieces of a key held by 9 separate people. In order to unplug a gluggy silver spell that had trapped the elven city of Dun, Sorelei Vailohe, the quest was very urgent. And that is because at Friday at noon, the spell will come permanent, which means that the elves would be crushed to death and Oscar would be trapped in this magical world forever. So basically he has to save the day by finding all the pieces of the key. So I really love the first 2 books that I have read, and really want to read the 3rd one, like I said, and then move on to this one. And then we have the last book of this video, but that is The Lost Metal by Brandon Sanderson. This is the 7th and final book, sort of. This is the 7th book in the Mistborn series. This is the 4th book in the Mistborn Second Era series, if you catch my drift. But this is supposed to be out on November 15th. This is a book I've looked forward to a really long time. I love the Wax and Wayne series. In the first book of this era, we meet Wax and Wayne, and this series takes place actually 300 years after the original Mistborn First Era series. So basically in this series overall, they have something called allomancy, which means you can basically inhale different kind of metals to make it so that you get different kind of powers. Some people, the Mistborn, can inhale all of the different metals, while some other people can just inhale like 1 or 2 of the different metals and therefore get the powers of those metals. So we have Wax, who's had a pretty rough life, and he actually has to put down his guns and assume the duties and dignities of the head of a noble house, or so he thinks, until he realizes that shit is about to go down and he has to take up his work again to make the streets a safe place. So yeah, I love this series so much. It's Brandon Sanderson. I mean, you can probably tell by the 2 shelves I have of his books. But yeah, this is all of the books that I'm really excited for this year. Perhaps I found something else pop up during the year, but yeah, these are the ones overall I'm really interested in. And yeah, please let me know down below if you have any books you're really looking forward to this year and why. And yeah, I hope we see each other in the next one. Bye!